for quick book review and a short interview. We have Dr. Vatsala Sperling, author of book Colubrid Snake Remedies and Their Indications in Homeopathy Practice. She has authored several books, and recently we did webinar with her on the book Ayurvedic Reset Diet. Many congratulations to you, Dr. Vatsala, for coming up with this unique book.
Thank you. Yes.
I knew very few have written books on Colubrid family, like Dr. Shankaran and Dr. Vermeulen. And you have added more value with homeopathic cases, which no one has done so far. And I know right now you are at beautiful Costa Rica working on reforestation project. First, I would like to ask you, what inspired you to write this Colubrid snake remedies and the indications in homeopathic practice?
For that, I have to quote a inspirational quote that I have heard in India. What we know can be contained in the fist of our hand. And what we do not know extends to the entire universe. So I'm saying, there is a lot to learn, a lot to learn. Okay. So the inspiration for writing this book came from, I would say, from being in Costa Rica. I spent months at a stretch here since 2005 doing reforestation work with my husband and the rest of the family. So the local people have a way of, we live in the rainforest. And Costa Rica being the tropics and the rainforest, full of snakes. You could be walking in your garden and you will run into a snake. And we are terrified of snakes. You see the snake, you'll say, "Ooh, what is this?" And we want to kill it or we want to run away. But the local people, they quickly identify the snake. And if it's venomous, they'd go for it or chase it away or whatever, if they don't get bit first. But if they quickly identify a non-venomous snake, the rural local people. And they'd say, "It's a non-venomous snake, let it go, it doesn't hurt us. It just looks scary, let it go. We don't need to kill it because it's good for the environment." So I kept hearing it for a long time. And then I'm saying, in our Materia Medica, since Constantine Herring approved lachesis, we've been using lachesis, naja, crotalus, bothrops, bites, dendroaspis. They are all venomous snakes. Yeah.
Yes.
So the remedies available to us for our practice are all from the venomous snakes. And recently from python, boa, and anaconda and those things, since Dr. Divya proved them. So our repertories are focusing on venomous snakes. I'm saying, what about the non-venomous snakes? The question came to me because, Kavita, there are 256 genera and 1,866 species of non-venomous colubrid snakes. Okay, it's a huge family of snakes that do not kill humans. They are non-venomous. The venom is not enough to kill human beings. We can get bit. The local site will be infected, but we won't die from it. But if a lachesis bit us, we are going to go within few minutes, right? Yes. So I'm saying, how about we explore non-venomous colubrid snakes as a source of remedy? So I'm doing my research and I'm doing my research and I'm doing my research. Turns out our great masters have mentioned about non-venomous snakes in their books, but there are no cases. In Rajan's book, there is a section about colubrid snakes. And Vermeulen has also mentioned, but there are no cases. So I'm saying, okay, I have to understand what's really going on with the colubrid snakes. So I started studying them. And it turns out non-venomous colubrid snakes are masters of mimicry. And why do they do mimicry? because they have to survive. They are non-venomous. They live close to human habitation in the jungles, in the gardens and all that. And they want to live their life. Now, the inspiration to write the book, that was your question, is that we are surrounded by non-venomous colubrid snakes. Let us study their habitat, their habits, their life experiences, what the snake goes through. So what stood out for me was mimicry of stronger venomous snakes with the sole purpose of survival. Further in, as I talk to you, I'll tell you why that point grasped my interest. Okay? So do you have
Yes.
a question?
And you know, Vatsala, in Indian tradition, snakes are worshipped. And
Yes.
you know, Lord Shiva has snake around his neck, and Lord Vishnu has snake as his pet. So, and in homeopathy, we have many very good remedies. And in nature also, the snakes have this self-protection and survival, which we all learned from
Yes.
row 4 periodic table of elements of Jans Charlton and animals of Dr. Joshi's. But my question for you is, what do you mean by these colubrid snakes?
See, the colubrid snakes are non-venomous to humans. And their next survival strategy is mimicking bigger, stronger, venomous snakes with the sole purpose of self-protection. That is what distinguishes the colubrid snakes from everything else.
Okay.
That's the main difference.
Yeah, self-defense and anti-predatory behavior, and which are observed in nature, as you're saying, right, and the human expression. And what is the special about? Of course, it is in a continuation. So, what is the special about non-venomous colubrid snakes that drew you to research them to for remedies?
You know, that's a very interesting question, because as a homeopath, I can have any research passion. I don't have to think of remedies from them, but homeopaths have a habit. They look at everything as a possible source of remedy. You know, that is universally true of all homeopaths. So I was interested to find out if colubrid snake remedies will be helpful in the practice. So here is what happened over the few years when I started focusing on this subject. Clients come. We have learned, plant, mineral, animal, and how to quickly identify them. Some of them will come purely for addressing a specific pathological condition, and you go by repertorization, get their PQRS symptoms, get their aggravations, modalities, and so on. And you go the repertory route, beautiful. Sometimes you get classic good old remedies and the person is fine. It doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes they come to you, and as you're trying to figure out their plant or animal or mineral, a life story will unravel in front of your eyes. I call it life narrative. Now, what is life narrative, Dr. Kavita? It is, I can ask you, Kavita, how are you doing? You say, I'm fine. But you can also say, oh, I went to the post office and this man jumped in front of my queue and I wanted to smash his head, and he wasn't courteous, he wasn't respectful, he talked rudely, he called me names, whatever. Immediately you're giving an indication of your encounter with this another person. Many times in our case taking, people cannot help themselves. They will reveal their life stories. And homeopaths are very patient listeners. So the life story is unfolding. When the life story is unfolding, Dr. Kavita, you can figure out whether they are mineral language or plant language or animal language. Once you have a person with an animal language, you can zero in on reptiles if they are speaking the reptile language. Now, in my cases, what I saw, the reptile language is there, unmistakable. Even the aggravation from sleep, even that is there. Choking on the neck, that is there. Typical, tightness around the abdomen, they don't like it, that is there. So reptile themes, reptile expressions are there, but. Now, this but, I want you to remember in all uppercase, B-U-T, but, all uppercase. What is that but? But these clients are telling me their life narrative with the expression that they are pretending to be angry or pretending to be brave or pretending to be even unconscious. They're pretending to be making noise and scaring the other person. What they're doing in when they're confronted with a stronger person who is dominating them. They are pretending to be strong and loud and dangerous, but in further along in the conversation, turns out they just want to live. So I said, I compared it after studying with Dr. Joshi for many, many years. Since 2013, I have been studying with them. After studying with them for many years, I said, you know what? They are talking the language of snake remedies, but the ferociousness of the venomous snake language is not there. You hear a person who requires, in the sensation method, who requires viperidae, viper snake remedies, lachesis and bushmaster and so on. Bushmaster and lachesis are same, but anaconda or big python, their strength, their strong expressions, they are unmistakable. You don't want to mess with those individuals. But these people, they were very timid, extremely timid. So I'm saying I'm going to explore non-venomous snake remedies for these people. So that is how I went toward the source, remedy source from the non-venomous snakes.
Right. And before I ask one question, I just wanted to tell you there are so many cases and very nicely mentioned. And this false water cobra case, which you have mentioned, really that showed like several years back, I had a client. And coming to the non-venomous, I did not think of. But this one, see that beautifully mentioned.
Yes.
Jacob, I'm not, since due to lack of time, I'm not going to go in detail, but just little bit, few sentences. A filterious man and all the expressions, his anger and how he does that case taking, everything was nicely mentioned, mapping to the client as well as to the indications of this one and the rubrics with nice the comparison with the repetition and coming up to the remedy and the Colubrid themes. It is really very helpful, Vatsala. And at the end, you have mentioned about the species and how it is. So my question would be like, how do the non-venomous colubrid snake remedies do in our daily practice, just like I said? So would like to hear more from you.
So what do they do is they bring about a wide-ranging relief. Sometimes the main complaint, there is one particular case in there about a person with a lot of boils in the body, coming up, and nothing helped her. But with the remedy that she got from non-venomous colubrid snake family, her boil formation tendency went away. So there are indications, strong indications for clinical success because these cases resolved nicely. And then they were overall much better than before. Actually, another thing I want to mention to you presently, a very well-known practitioner from UK is finding several cases in his practice for which he's prescribing non-venomous colubrid snakes, and he's getting success.
I wanted to do that, Vatsala. I haven't known all these remedies, and after I got this, now I think that we should change our perspective and think in a different way, as you are saying.
A mineral case, we don't always give them aurum. We have 7 rows. We have 108 minerals to choose from, and their salts. Okay. Same way, when we have a plant case, everybody doesn't get pulsatilla or arnica. We have thousands of plants. So what's happening, particularly in the snake cases, we as homeopaths have boxed ourselves in to hand out venomous snake remedies. Great. When they are called for, you have the remedies, life is good. But sometimes the life narrative is going to be one of a very timid person, very scared, but acting smarter, acting braver, acting angrier, sounding dangerous, but they are not. When that deceit you notice in their presentation, that's when you go for non-venomous colubrid snake remedies.
Okay, that's a good indication. And can I ask you one more question, Dr.
Sure.
Vatsala? Okay, so what specific non-venomous colubrid snakes have you presented in your book? Where can we buy the remedies?
Yes. The remedies can be purchased from Remedia and from Helios. They both carry them. And I have tried in my work, I have tried Natrix. There is, it plays dead. Then I have tried cyclagras, the picture that you showed, hooded head, cyclagras false water cobra. Then I have tried Thomnophis, which goes by producing mating ball. And then I have done Ilafe, and I have done Lampropeltis. So 5 different species of non-venomous colubrid snake remedies I have tried.
That is wonderful, Vatsala. And I think you might have answered where can we buy your book is also my last question. But before I go to that question, I would say to the audience and the people who are interested, this book is beautifully laid out with 9 chapters in detail that covers snake remedies in our repertories and Metromedica, and with several case examples like, so as just now we discussed. So you will love it, and it should be at bedside. That way they don't miss any of the thing.
Yeah.
With nicely fortified color images, which will be more interesting. And so
you said that, yeah, go on.
Go ahead, Vatsala.
So your question was, where can we purchase the remedy?
Yes.
That I have already answered you, Helios and Remedia.
Your book. Next comes to that. Where can one buy your book for the audience?
They can write to me. People who are interested, they can write to me, vs@innertraditions.com. Or what I could do is send you the purchase link, and you could post it with your video if that works for you.
Definitely. And along with the recording, we will be sharing, since this is just a quick book review, but we are going to do a detailed session with Dr. Vatsala like soon next year. That way it will be more benefit to everyone, and everyone will love this book. It will be a big as a reference book people can use, and it can provide a beacon light in homeopathic community, and for everyone, to the millennials or academicians. And I got this precious book as Mother's Day gift.
Oh, that's
So
cute.
that is so nice. And one more thing is, see, it's a great honor for me to do book review with my dear friend, Dr. Vatsala. And so I'm so fortunate to have Vatsala was my editor for my 2 books, Beyond the Limits and A Dose of Spirituality with Kavita. And now I'm going to look forward for Dr. Vatsala's next book to do book review.
See, okay.
And one more thing to our audience, I gifted this book to my dear friend in California for her birthday, and she loved it. So how about for Christmas or New Year? Give your dear ones a gift. You can think of this book, and we will share the recording. And anything Vatsala, before we end?
I really want to thank you for inviting me in your forum. I know it's a very vibrant community with a lot of homeopaths, a lot of students, and you are putting out a lot of effort to keep everything moving. Yeah, and it's a great service to homeopathy. So I'm very honored to be invited into your forum. Thank you very much for presenting the book as well as having this conversation with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vatsana, for sharing your insights about your book. And we will look forward to do more book reviews in near future. Thank you.
And I will send you the links for the books.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.